City volunteers pay preliminary visits to sanitation workers to send love in the winter. We meet a strong single mother who works hard labor jobs to raise her two sons. Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. City volunteers from Changsha have cared for sanitation workers since 2016 by giving them some humanitarian aid during winter month. This year, the aid will expand to horticulture workers. The volunteers began their home visitations already to further understand each family's needs.
It's just the crack of dawn and there are already a group of workers in orange jackets taking care of the cleanliness on the streets of Changsha. Tzu Chi has, for the past 5 years, sent aid to these workers in the winter. Thus, these volunteers began to visit the workers this summer to see about their needs. In Jiangling, he should be working right now, but he's lying in bed because about half a month ago, he broke his leg at work.
My legs are recovering well, but I still can't put much weight on it. I can't walk on it. When the time comes in about a year, I'll need to have surgery to remove the steel plate.
This group of sanitation workers don't receive a high salary, yet they are often burdened with high living expenses, like Huang Shuxiang, who not only has to pay rent, but also his wife's Alzheimer's medication, leaving very little for them to live off of each month. This year, the volunteers' care is extended to governmental horticulture workers. On this day, the volunteers visited Mr. Tang and discovered his brothers suffer from the hereditary disease of myasthenia gravis, a neuromuscular disease which weakens skeletal muscles.
My 2 older brothers died of this sickness. One died in 1990. Originally, the 4th brother was bedridden, but then he passed away too. This younger brother is the same.
He has myasthenia gravis. His muscles are weak and have atrophied.
Tang's single salary needs to not only take care of his own family, but his siblings as well. This heavy burden is nearly crushing him.
Don't believe in those superstitions, please. Believe in science and government. Believe that charity organizations such as ours will take care of your family. We send you our best wishes and hope that your family will continue to thrive.
During the initial home visitation, volunteers record down the family situation and send lots of encouragement their way, in hopes of paving a path for long-term care in the future.
Last year, Tzu Chi signed an agreement with Liancheng County to revitalize rural areas. This year, Tzu Chi began with a summer camp for children. Prior to the camp, it seemed that parents hardly had any time to spend with their children. But after the camp, the volunteers saw the children bring home what they learned.
Playing with the water gun or in the gutter, these are typical summer activities for these children. Or sometimes they spend all day playing on cell phones. Sibao Town's La Keng village is in the middle of the plum harvest during July and August. So the adults have no time to take care of their children, but sometimes there are other reasons too.
知道孩子学习情况怎么样？知道吗？我不知道，因为我们又没读过书，又不认不到字啊，主意我们又不会教。
教个一。
If you ask the children, they look forward to going to school.
你们想上学？明天？
想，我好想干活，我都不想干活了，干活很累。放假的时候想上学。
爱不爱明天读书？
爱。
为什么爱？
读书以后考上大学。
In 2019, Tzu Chi signed an agreement with Liancheng County to help improve their rural conditions. And in this July, Tzu Chi hosted the first ever summer camp for children, which have made outside playing time unappealing.
今天停电不写其实也没关系啊，你不去玩吗？
不去。
为什么？
停电怎么玩？那下大雨又怎么玩？因为我们要玩 完成老师给的任务吗？
不会觉得很麻烦吗？
不会，不觉得。我搞这个店一天都很开心。
In 2 days, we've seen improvements in littering and in them finishing their meal. The kids will say they don't want to waste food. I hope this first session can be done well, so next year when the building is complete, we can host more children and more educators to come to teach.
The parents join their children at the summer camp when their farm work is done for the day and see their children light up thinking about their beautiful future.
In Zhanghua, China, a 16-year-old girl lives with her sick mother. Their home was affected by flooding, causing panel walls to fall off. Upon hearing the news, city volunteers began visiting since June. After a few visits, volunteers decided to repair their home.
Tzu Chi volunteers load the truck with furniture. These items are for a care mission for a family in need.
The items that we are carrying today are air conditioners, televisions, wardrobes, and beds. These items are for the households we are visiting today.
A family of two, consisting of a mother and daughter, have been living a tough life in Shuting village located in Zhangzhou city. The mother is in poor health, and her daughter has to take care of her along with managing her schoolwork. The family lives in a house in decrepit condition and is in need of repair.
The room is too humid. The paint on the walls fall off and become cracked. We are very sad to see this, so we came to an agreement that we will improve their living environment.
My clothes are soaked with sweat and then become dry again. This happens repeatedly, though I'm happy to do this because I'm helping them improve their living condition. Thus, I'm willing to give this effort.
As Tzu Chi brothers and sisters came to a common understanding, and we raised enough for a bed and 2 closets.
These brothers and sisters came to help this family in need and turn their home into a better place to live. On behalf of this village, I would like to thank Tzu Chi.
15 volunteers each spent 5 hours of hard work to finish the repairs for the home. Volunteers now talk to the receiver.
Things like cooking, cleaning, and washing clothes. You should help your mother with it, okay?
I thought I would never get help like this. I never believed it would happen. Now I'm thankful to Tzu Chi and its volunteers for their kindness. In the future, I will do my best to help others.
After making a promise, Huang Xiaolu and her mother, under the assistance of Tzu Chi, will initiate a new chapter in their lives.
In Jakarta, Indonesia, there's a CDK recipient Sukar who used to work as a security guard at a college dorm. 7 years ago, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and his family has to rely on his wife's income. Since 2014, CITI Indonesia chapter has been subsidizing their living expenses and medical fees. Sukar, who's blind, has used his hands to measure the distance. And found a location to place the brand new washing machine. He has been diagnosed with a brain tumor for 7 years. Despite that, he has decided to do his best to care for his family.
Tetap bersyukur, jadi kita menerima apapun.
I still accept life's challenges with gratitude. Regardless of how much income we have, we still need to carry on with life.
Banyak atau sedikit pun, kita tetap harus menjalankan hidup.
It's like my name, which means gratitude.
Tadi bersyukur itu, ya.
As Suker can no longer work as the security guard at the college dorm, the family solely relies on his wife's income. But Suker and his mentally challenged son are good helpers.
Since we are a family, I need to accept his illness with sincerity. When we got married, he was very healthy. I won't leave him because he has fallen ill.
Suker's family find their spiritual support in their Islamic faith. The Indonesia chapter has been supporting his living expenses and medical needs since 2014.
I am able to persevere till now because of Tzu Chi's volunteers' support. They always encourage me to bear with it. They said we can overcome challenges as long as we are sincere, and this is no big deal. Their words have given me guidance in life.
Itu yang selalu saya jadi panduan saya itu aja.
In Malaysia, after schools have been suspended for 4 months, classes have resumed. In Selayang, the UNHCR Tzu Chi Education Center has resumed classes as well. On the first day, only 70% of students attended school. Due to the pandemic, many refugee families are facing financial difficulties, and they cannot afford the students' transportation fees. Students in lower grades at the Selayang UNHCR Tzu Chi Education Center have returned to class. On the first day, they need to adjust to new lifestyle.
The coronavirus gave me
Teacher has given us hand sanitizer to disinfect our bodies.
Teacher give hand gel and spray their body.
The first day is the most important, and we must pass on the information. As the school teachers have informed them formally, they will go home and tell their parents about it.
After a long break, the children are happy to return to school.
Tak seronok. Kenapa? Duduk rumah aja. Saya suka. Saya gembira.
I like to come to school. I feel very joyful because I like to learn. Although I have to get up early, I don't mind because I want to become a doctor.
Following the SOP set up by the Ministry of Education, students attend either morning or afternoon classes. Only 70% of students have returned to school.
Some students have stopped going to school. I do not want to lose any student. I have asked the teacher to find out why he is not coming to school. At least, I want to make sure he is safe.
It is difficult for refugee children to pursue an education. Teachers are doing their best to ensure all the students will return to school. As Chinese Father's Day is approaching, we launch a series of reports on strong mothers who play 2 roles in a family. Today, we introduce Mother Huang Chu-Kei, a 38-year-old Vietnamese new immigrant living in Zhanghua. She raises her 2 sons by herself after her divorce, raising ducks and selling eggs in the market. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle in Vietnam, but I came here to work and take care of children, so I learned it.
The sound of the motorcycle engine crosses this farmland. Working heavy under the scorching sun, she is well acquainted with sticky sweat due to the humidity, but this is not troublesome for her.
Right here, my shoulder hurts and it feels heavy when walking in the fields.
At 4 or 5 in the morning, she will go to the coop to pick up the eggs. And in the afternoon, she does her farming work.
Even though she is always busy and often tired, the smile never seems to disappear on her face.
When I think of my children, this type of work feels a little lighter. This is what keeps me going.
一包差不多20公斤，就很简单啊，就这样子就倒给他吃。
Her
Her parents' economic condition in Vietnam is not bad, but she had dreams and was filled with curiosity. She had been married in Taiwan for 13 years. The journey of her marriage has been difficult. After the divorce, she worked hard to raise her children.
又没办法回去看他们。
他们知道你在这边过得怎么样？
不知道了，都分享的说这边很好，怕他们担心。
The trouble is her two children may not be used to living in Vietnam, as she would rather work hard here in Taiwan.
Welcome to our family.
Because her children are interested in kendo, we often train them. In the past few years, they have also participated in some competitions and even won awards.
Welfare groups have provided warmth and support to this single-parent family.
My child said, "Mom, you're like a superwoman. You can do everything that a man can do."
This mother's love isn't always expressed, but it always exists.
它是照着我们的太阳。
就感冒的时候就会一样照常去上班。
She takes care of us every day. I am very grateful to Mom.
他现在只有
Now they just depend upon their mother. If I give up on them, what will they do? It doesn't matter how difficult the work is and how hard it is. I must do it to care for my children. In our next report, we'll introduce you to a grandmother who has played the roles of parents. 76-year-old Chen Hezhi has been taking care of her granddaughter for more than 10 years. She's now working as a janitor. Her granddaughter, who had developmental problems when little, has now obtained a chef's license. Cleaning the restaurant and the office, Grandma Chen Hezhi is 76 years old. She's the oldest janitor in the building.
Cleaning your restroom and the dirty floor. Then I pick up recyclables and dump the garbage.
After returning home, Grandma Chen sorts recyclables with her granddaughter. Xiaohan, who studies food and beverage, will help Grandma prepare dinner.
I attended craft and skills class in junior high school, and I'm interested in food and beverage.
Grandma Chen and Xiaohan have been dependent on each other for more than 10 years. Xiaohan had developmental problems when she was little, and Grandma Chen has accompanied her to take classes at Taiwan Fund for Children and Families.
Poor kid. As her grandmother, I should take care of her.
It's not easy, as she has raised her granddaughter single-handedly.
Xiaohan has obtained Chinese chef's license and aspires to become a chef. She wants her grandmother to live a more comfortable life and hopes to help other people when she has the ability. A new student orientation in the Tzu Chi Senior High School goes hand in hand with the Either Parents training camp. 7th graders, along with Either Parents, became closer through games and companionship.
Students interact with either parents naturally, lighthearted with some laughter. It's hard to tell that this is their first encounter.
We have to use proper language they understand, along with a soft approach to them. This represents truthful love and care.
Tzu Chi Senior High's new student orientation occurs at the same time with the Ida Parent Training Camp. Tzu Chi volunteer Zhanghua, with the heart of giving back, joined for the first time.
Because my own children receive love and care from either parents in Tzu Chi Senior High School, I witnessed their interactions and felt touched. This made me want to contribute and spread love to other children.
With the heart of giving back, Li Caini, who had been accepted to NTU, came back as a volunteer for the summer camp. Her high school days were spent here and was under the care of Ida parents.
I was in this school for 3 years. At first, it was a bit awkward interacting with either parents, but after a few interactions, we become closer. We will start to know them well and joke about things. Now, when I see them, I feel happy. I will hug them.
Before I took care of Li Caini's class, her class was trained humanitarianism for 3 years during middle school. But now we're interacting with the middle school children. They're very cute. We have to rethink how to teach and guide them.
A solid relationship is built on the foundation of time. After a few days of interacting with newcomers, volunteers believe that these children are ready to embrace the new lifestyle.
City volunteers went to a machinery company in Taoyuan to hold a blessing ceremony and a vegetarian food promotion event. The chairman of this company is Tzu Chi and invited more than 60 employees to participate in the prayer meeting.
We see a lot of extreme weather on TV, which poses the threat of destroying land for human existence.
In one sentence, extreme weather is related to life, emphasizing vegetarian food and health. Tzu Chi volunteers organized a vegetable food event and blessing ceremony at a machinery company. Company chairman Liu Qingsan, who has been a vegetarian for nearly 20 years, persuaded many through his vegetarian experience.
I used to go for a physical exam every year and take gastrointestinal endoscopy. Every year, there are 1 or 2 polyps. When I changed to vegetarian diet later on, it's been more than 10 years and they are not growing anymore. No polyp growth is one of the benefits of vegetarian food.
Actually, I was a devout vegetarian for a while. Physically, I felt lighter and I was more sensitive in my thinking.
Tzu Chi volunteers shared the impact of a meat-based diet and a vegetarian diet on the environment. Many employees took many notes.
I also do it too. I eat vegetarian in the morning and I promote it to my family. I also eat at least 1 vegetarian meal a day and promote it to my colleagues. Every one of my colleagues may also get this good blessing.
I have been a vegetarian for almost 20 years. If you are a vegetarian, it will reduce carbon emissions. Every aspect of vegetarianism has a good effect on the earth.
Praying to the Buddha devoutly after receiving rice, a vegetarian mindset has begun to sprout in everyone's hearts.
Movement restriction orders were put in place in Manila, the Philippines, making many people unable to go out. As a Catholic country, many people could not go to church. Now, with the gradual opening of the city, many people prayed outside churches or waited in long lines for limited space inside.
The Philippines, the 3rd largest Catholic country in the world, sees many churches busy, not just on major festivals, but even normal days. Nowadays, with the pandemic and measures to prevent gatherings, most people can only pray outside the door of the church.
Although we may be socially distant from God right now, as we cannot simply enter the church casually, we still need God's guidance and blessing.
These vendors outside the church have seen reduced crowds and reduced income as they can only sell on weekends.
We are also afraid of being infected by the virus, but for the sake of our family, we have to come out and make a living.
At present, churches are only half open and the number of people strictly controlled as there are hundreds of people waiting in line every day.
I believe God will surely hear our prayers and give us good medicine.
I came to the church without asking for anything. I'm grateful that me and my family are safe.
Relying on faith and praying for peace, many hope this difficult period will soon pass.
In Taichung, there's a solitary senior who suffers from mild dementia. To celebrate Father's Day, church organization has brought in carts drawn by children. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.